Bear with me while I retrieve my copy of Lives of the Eminent Philosophers and locate the section on one of Stoicism's most illustrious, yet often overlooked philosophers, Gaius Musonius Rufus. I've recently discovered that he's conspicuously absent from the glossary of the aforementioned book, likely overshadowed by more well-known Stoics like Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus. This relative obscurity may be attributed to the limited survival of his works compared to those of the aforementioned Stoics. Nevertheless, I firmly believe that Rufus offers some of the most eloquent and pragmatic Stoic philosophy of his time. Who was Gaius Musonius Rufus? The Roman Socrates. Gaius Musonius Rufus, born between AD 20 and 30, stood as one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers during the imperial era of the Roman Empire. He held a prominent position among the philosophers in Rome and earned titles such as the Roman Socrates by the Christian scholar Origen of Alexandria, and the greatest Stoic of his time by the Roman historian Tacitus. Rufus is perhaps most famous for being the teacher of the well-known philosopher Epictetus, who was a slave at the time and gained Rufus's permission to study under his tutelage. As readers familiar with my previous articles are aware, I hold great admiration for Epictetus. Exile and the Stoic resistance. Gaius Musonius Rufus practiced and taught philosophy during the reign of Emperor Nero. Given Nero's tyrannical disposition and his hostility toward philosophers, whom he considered a threat to his rule, it was only a matter of time before Rufus found himself in exile in 65 AD. Rufus's association with the Stoic opposition, a group of Stoic philosophers who challenged the rule of emperors they believed were wielding power recklessly, likely played a role in his exile. Nero, in particular, was the focus of their opposition, and he responded by executing 3 of Rufus's students, who became known as the Stoic martyrs. Rufus only returned to Rome during the reign of Emperor Galba, which lasted a mere 7 months before his assassination due to unpopular decisions, betrayals, and a turbulent power transition following Nero's suicide. Rufus was exiled once again during Vespasian's rule, but eventually returned under Titus. He passed away sometime before 101 to 102 AD. Gaius Musonius Rufus philosophy. Regrettably, none of Musonius's original writings have survived, but we do possess a collection of works transcribed by others, originally composed in Greek. Musonius staunchly believed that philosophy, particularly Stoic philosophy, represented the most practical knowledge an individual could acquire. Through philosophy, he contended, one learns that virtue is the sole good and vice is the sole evil. According to Musonius, the reasons are as follows. Education for all. He emphasized the importance of providing equal education for both men and women. Musonius believed that education, benefiting the soul, should be available to all. Practice over theory. Like other Stoics, Musonius valued practical wisdom and insisted that the practice of virtue was more important than philosophical discourse. Virtuous action, not mere discussion, was the ultimate goal of a Stoic philosopher. Endurance of hardships. Musonius believed in facing hardships with grace. He recognized the value of confronting life's challenges with resilience and patience to develop one's character. Role of reason. As with other Stoics, Musonius upheld reason as the defining characteristic of humanity. By living in harmony with reason, he believed one could align with nature and attain eudaimonia, or a fulfilled life. Virtue. Musonius underscored the significance of virtue, as was common among many philosophers of his time. He told the story of offering advice to a visiting king from Syria in one of his lectures. Musonius emphasized that a king bore a duty to his people, to protect and support them to the best of his ability. However, to fulfill this duty, a king must first comprehend good from evil, fairness from unfairness, and beneficial from harmful. Without this understanding, a king could not determine what was best for his subjects. Musonius maintained that to gain such wisdom, one must become a philosopher. Therefore, the king must become a philosopher and cultivate the virtues that philosophical study bestows: self-control, frugality, modesty, humility, courage, justice, and wisdom. Diet and temperance. Musonius's philosophical approach extended to daily habits and behaviors, encompassing diet and eating habits. He viewed eating modest, nutritious foods rather than rich, lavish meals as a foundation for developing self-control. Musonius's philosophy also encompassed clothing and housing, with the belief that both should serve practical rather than ostentatious purposes. He stated that he would rather endure sickness than live in excess, as illness harms the body alone, while luxury harms both the body, making it soft, and the soul, eroding virtue. In conclusion, Gaius Musonius Rufus, though less recognized than some Stoic philosophers, stands as one of the most esteemed and influential thinkers of his time. His philosophy, centered on virtue and character development, shaped the thought of the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus and, by extension, that of Marcus Aurelius. Rufus emphasized that philosophy should permeate all aspects of life, from daily routines to actions and behaviors. Through this comprehensive integration, one could develop the virtues essential for a good and contented life. In parting, let me share a piece of Rufus's wisdom on the value of diligent effort. If you accomplish something good with hard work, the labor passes quickly, but the good endures. If you do something shameful in pursuit of pleasure, the pleasure passes quickly, but the shame endures. If you've enjoyed this video and found it informative, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future content. Subscribing is quick, easy, and free, and it's the best way to stay up to date with our latest videos. By subscribing, you become a part of our community, and we'd love to have you on board for this exciting journey. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to sharing more valuable insights and entertaining content with you in the days to come.